We are on filmsgonewild.com, and we're going to talk to Ivan Bordas about his film Cabarete. Ivan, welcome to Films Gone Wild.
Oh, yeah. Thank you, John. Thank you for hosting me. Yes.
Absolutely. So this is the organ grinder monkey part of the interview, where for the umpteenth time, you get to tell our audience about your film because they have not seen it yet. So you introduce our audience to Cabarete.
Oh, okay. Well, if you're gonna watch Cabarete, what are you gonna get in the mix? First, it's a movie. It's a breath of fresh air during COVID. That's what I think it is. It's like everything was shot on location in the northern coast of the Dominican Republic. That's where I am from. So everything's like the beach, the water, the wind, and it's a movie about kite surfing. So it's a sports movie about this local that wants to make it big. He's the fisherman, and his day job and but so he practices on the weekends. He's kind of good and he gets the opportunity to make it big, but there's also the looming threat of the hedonistic lifestyle of this town of Cabarete, where people, it's like a dolce vita, people from all over the world come out to party, and that's kind of the premise of the movie. Yeah. And
Here's what I really enjoyed about Cabarete is it's really a classic structure of a film where where we have our guy, our hero, who's very talented, and as you say, there's a lot of threats to take his talent away, for him to thwart him in his pursuit of the talent. I was watching it and I was actually kind of amused watching it, going, in a strange way, it parallels the film The Natural. And I go, and so our young kite surfer is Robert Redford in that case, where he's the phenom, and we're going to see him do his thing. All right. Well, here I've got a number of questions for you, and of course we can't get through them all. But one of the things that I was thinking about, because I was not familiar with kite surfing in any way, watching the film, and as a filmmaker, if you're making a film about, say, baseball or football or soccer or golf, well, we know what makes a good player in those sports, but we may not know what makes a good kite surfer. And so I was watching this guy going, well, if I'm the director, then how do I show that to my audience? Like, this makes this guy much better than that guy. So I would love for you to talk about taking that on as a challenge as you were making the film.
Well, and great question, by the way. It's like, for me, it's a different take on an athlete origin story, and that is, when you look at a sports movie, it's all about the coach. I'm thinking Friday Night Lights right now. It's about that process and the school and where you're gonna get drafted and what's happening. But these athletes, like for example, the thing about Cabarete, it's like these people, they come from nowhere. Like they come from. What I mean by that is like they come from the hood, and they are out there to make it. So it's the inner drive that you have to like go through life understanding this on your own, because who's there to tell you? There's no system or structure in place. Now, it's a very different thing with baseball, where you have scouts already nurturing them and already see the potential value down the line, and then coming back and saying, okay, and you see that deal making right away. Here, it's very much based on the heart and the energy, and like going out to the beach and doing it. And first, hustling, making some bucks by fixing other people's kites. And if you see at the very, like that, if you see the archival footage on kite surfing, you'll see that many of these people in Dominican Republic, they start at 8. They're helping out people. But how do you go from that to becoming great in this sport? Well, that's
but
the
here's the thing
energy.
also, though, is that but even like your cinematography in the film, and which I was also like going, because you have some things where you're like doing I'm assuming like some kind of GoPro type camera where
Yeah.
you're going, you know, up with your kite surfer, and you know, and
Yeah.
we're seeing him do the twisting around from his perspective, you know, kind of thing. You know, and so I'm like watching that, like going, well, okay, so in this case, you know, Yvonne's showing him do this twisting around thing, and we go, nobody else can do that apparently, right?
Yeah.
And so that's why you know, I was really like, you know, really wanting to, you know, hear you talk about how you how you set up those shots, you know, what you know, what you were, you know, how you were trying to like go, okay, we really need to show something spectacular that anybody who has no clue whatsoever, me in this case, you know, will go, oh my God, look at that.
Yeah, well, we had a lot of fun doing that, I'll say. And one of the cameras, basically what you do, you get two kitesurfers. Okay, so, and the one kitesurfer bites a camera. Can you believe that? Like I said, it's in the mouth. So it gives you the perspective of the head. So like the good thing about having the camera in the mouth is that when you tilt your head the way that you would normally would, you would also get that vibe cinematically. Like you wouldn't get that in any other way. So we put a camera there. We put a camera on the board, and we lost like six cameras, like six cameras though, because when you hit the wave, you know, it just like it blows and it goes away, you know, and then the current, and we're like swimming trying to get that camera in the bottom of but it's gone. And you had a lot of fun with like setting up the different cameras. We actually, you know, as you mentioned, we wanted to get the vibe of that you're there kiting with this person. And one of the ways that we did that, we shot some scenes from the ground, from the beach, and she a little bit detached. But then we shot some other scenes out there with them, you know, and more intimate with them. And that's what I feel like it gives people the breadth of what it is. And if you know, like, we don't go out there and explain every little detail of how it works, because that's kind of like how it is kite surfing, you know, like you're there taking in the elements. It's like surfing, you know, you have to be out there, feel it. It's not like so calculating, I'd say, American football, you know, for
Right.
say.
Well, the next question I had goes into casting,
Yeah.
because again, when you have a film with a classic structure like this, we have our, our young guy, our talent, and you know, we've got to give a damn about him. We've
Yeah,
got
we got to root for him. Yes.
we got to root for him. We got to care for him. You know, and then we have our moral center, which is, you know, his dad, you know,
Right.
a little bit his mentor, you know, his teacher, but more so his dad forms that role. And then of course, then we have the temptation. You know, we have the French in this case.
Yes.
And so I would love for you to talk about what struck you with each one of those characters when you were casting, going, okay, I know I know that she's going to be a great temptress. You know, I know he is going to be a great moral center. I know, you know, we're fine. So I would love for you to kind of, you know, go through each one of those kind of characters and what struck you about them in the casting process to go, that's my person.
Well, with how I approach this project, it's a little bit like a convergence of things. Now, so I born and raised in the Caribbean Latin culture myself, so a lot of we get cinema from everywhere, mainly, you know, Hollywood and the U.S., but also Latin cinema and European cinema. So when I studied in USC in California, so it's a very classical structure, you know, on that end. So like all the things that you're talking about, yeah, these are things that I wanted to put in the story, but I also wanted to make the story feel very much 100% Dominican, you know, 100% from the area, about the people in there. So what I did was combine several elements. In this case, non-actors, people that hadn't acted before, with international actors that had done so much work, and then local actors in Dominican Republic. Same thing with the cinematography, the style. Wanted to keep it in an indie movie, but also have that structure that you know, it's a story that you're rooting for the hero, and you're going with the hero to see the choices that the hero makes and how the choices affect and the consequences that they have. That's so like, so the movie can be, enjoyed all throughout the world. So for me, a challenge first was the main character. Never had acted before. So it's never had acted before, and he didn't even have like a normal schooling in his life. You know, he takes classes on Saturdays for school as opposed to Monday to Friday. So he's out there making it on his own. So I thought it was gonna be daunting. You know, one thing is seeing the movies, another thing is acting in the movie. We have to repeat so many times the take. But he brought in the energy, and that for me was something incredible. Like he increased so much so quick that he was able to be on par with people that had been actors their whole life on dramatic scenes and also emotional scenes. So for me, that blending of the elements comes out to have that movie that has that DNA of a real movie, of a real experience, you know, but also it has that cinematic fictional feel that we're all accustomed to feel when we see a movie. And several of the characters are actually true people that are out there. So like the Big Willie character that teaches kite surfing, he's out there. You can go out to Cabarete right now and take a class with him. You can go out there to Cabarete and take a class with Bibi, who's like the kite surfer, like the mentor character that it's also going on to the tournament. So Bibi will give you a full on from yoga, kite surfing, hiking, complete package. And that's what he does in his real life. So, and that's his name. So we have those characters that the restaurant owner that buys their fish, that's what he does. Real, like he's there, he's from Italy, he has the broken Spanish accent, and he buys, and you go there and you get that fish, and or is it prawns that you get from him, the catch of the day. So like we put those things in the movie and we weave them with a classic narrative because it's such a great athlete origin story that happens here. So that's kind of like how we went about with the casting and the storytelling and even the camera work. Like if you see, the camera work is mostly handheld. Like we didn't want to feel like we were static and it just feel everything super stylized. We want to feel like you're there with them. And even as we manipulated the image, the color correcting, we made it very true to what it looks like when you're down there. You know, like at one moment I was like, no, let's push the orange and the blues and let's make it heightened, you know. But it's like, no, let's come back. Let's make it real, you know, and that gives it a personality to itself, to the film, you know.
Well, I think, you know, it does. It really enhances. Like I said, you know, you have a very classic structure with the film that we naturally respond to cinematically, and you know, and all those elements, you know, that you describe, then just gives it you know, more of an authentic thing, which ties it, which grounds it. I really did enjoy it. Again, the film is Cabarete. We've been talking to Ivan Bordas, the director of the film. Ivan, thank you for being on filmsgonewild.com. Great to have you here.
John, thank you for having me, and enjoy the movie, everybody. Until the next time. Peace.